Okay. Welcome to the second lesson. Now, quick like a bunny, we're going to jump to this week's reading assignments. This week's reading assignment will be posted to the super secret Facebook group. It's going to be the 1st through 6th passages of Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. It will also include the commentary. And it's easy to tell which is which because the root text is written in 36-point font, and the commentary is written in 18-point font, literally half the size. So super easy to tell the difference. So what's so special about this text, Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones? Glad you asked. Over the last 26 centuries, there have been many books written about the path to enlightenment. The Dalai Lama is often asked to write forewords to different books on Buddhism. And usually you can tell that his introductions are pretty much perfunctory and just done out of obligation and politeness, and they're pretty sterile. Until I read the introduction to, let's see here, to this book. And in it, he absolutely gushes. He gushes literally and figuratively. Literally, he describes this book, Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones, as being a complete path to enlightenment. Now, for the Dalai Lama, that's not a hyperbolic statement. He was raised in the Gelug sect of Tibetan Buddhism. They pay great emphasis to the gradual path, which in Tibetan is Lam Rim. So they pay great attention to the Lam Rim category of teachings. And so for him to say that this short text is a complete path, for him, that's super big praise. Now, figuratively, he says the poetic language in which it is written is like an elixir for reviving the dead. Now, some people get mixed up between literal statements and metaphors, but similes, you can always tell a simile because they've got a phrase like or as, or in manner of. So in other words, so it takes a very special type of stupid to confuse a simile with a literal statement. But just in case someone out there has been eating paint chips, Dalai Lama is not saying it will turn you into a zombie. But he will say it can help us on the spiritual path to wake up quicker in a more beautiful, pleasant way. And real quick, I'm going to mute everyone just for a few minutes, not because I don't love everyone, just because I don't want feedback. Funny that way. So I recommend reading this. It won't take very long. You can read it probably in like 5 minutes a day on the toilet. All these texts are formatted to be read upon one's smartphone. When you download them, if you download them from Facebook, I recommend opening them with whatever browser is installed on your smartphone. From your browser, you can open it with the free, what's it called? The free Kindle app. If you don't have it, download it today. It's absolutely free. It works both on Android and on iOS. The nice thing about reading a PDF on the Kindle app is it saves your place. You can bookmark things. You can, it makes it easy to jump around the text. There's all kinds of fun, easy features, which will prevent you, from having a stroke. And nobody wants that. So now let's move forward in the text even further. We come to our primary recitations. I'm going to make my face a little smaller here. We talked a few moments ago about the Lam Rim, or the gradual path to enlightenment. There are many outlines for that. The most concise does it in 4 quatrains, 4 stanzas of 4 lines each, approximately. Now, that can't be done from a fundamentalist point of view. From the fundamentalist point of view, the 4 thoughts are only about renunciation. However, from the liberal point of view, we also fold in compassion and we fold in the wisdom of letting go. And that'll become more apparent in the lesson that follows, and in this lesson, and the lessons over the next 3 weeks. Now let's get into this week's portion. Excuse me. Okay, by the way, in the future, I recommend signing into class 5 to 10 minutes early. That always works best. I found it's best to be ready for class, good to go, and just, looking at memes on Imgear, than shucking and jiving and getting to class late, because that just makes everything stressful, and stress is not why we meditate. Having said that, we notice at the top of the page the phrase suffering. Although I prefer, many scholars agree that suffering is better translated as stress. So, neither getting nor keeping the desired and enduring the disliked are universal. So there's not a lot of wisdom in this, but there is some renunciation, and more precisely, it's easy to feel guilty. It's easy to feel like every time I suffer, every time I have stress, physical or circumstantial or emotional, it's an indictment against my spiritual practice. And the answer is no, it's not even a little bit. We all experience the stress of needing something and not having it. We all experience the stress of benefiting from something and having it taken away from us. For instance, oxygen. And we all experience the stress of enduring something that's just harmful for us. So there is some lazy-minded thinking that says, oh, then just don't want things. But you need oxygen. You need air, you need water, So to just blithely say, stop needing things is absurd. We look at this not so that we can feel bad, but that's so we can feel good and say, hey, I'm not the only one experiencing stress. This is universal. And there will come times when bad shit happens. A parent dies, a spouse dies, a child dies, and it will feel like a trapdoor has opened out beneath our feet and that we are in free fall. In moments like this, having a hook to hang our hat on can really, really be helpful. i.e., if we recite this twice a day, every day, after a month or so, we will have accidentally memorized it. And when the fit hits the shan, to be able to go here can help us remember that it's horrible, but it's not unique. So we're going to use the bookend chant. It's the bookend chant because it says it up there in ridiculously small font. You'll notice the first syllable is bold and it has an accent, and that the second to the last syllable also is bold and has an accent. So allow me to chant this for you. Please just listen the first time. Neither getting nor keeping the desired and enduring the disliked are universal. And now together, we'll do this together. We'll begin with a silent and mental recitation during the in-breath. And now together, neither getting nor keeping the desired and enduring the disliked or universal. I'm going to turn on everyone's camera so I can see everyone's handsome face. Olaf, do you have any pets?
No, I'm allergic.
Okay. John, do you have any pets?
I have 2 cats at my parents' house.
Okay. The next time you visit your parents, possibly during Thanksgiving or perhaps Christmas, if one of the cats crawls in your lap and you rest your hands palm down upon them and start chanting, they will start meeting the air because cats are energy sleds. And they love Buddhist chanting. Try it. Let me know how it works out for you. Before we move on, John, do you have any questions about this?
No.
All right. Self-explanatory. Let's move forward. We're going to begin with a bit of review. So I promised you that this week we would start with triplet chanting. And just like it sounds, during the first 3 syllables of the couplet, remember a couplet is 2 lines, we're going to chant it like it's walking downstairs. And we're going to do that twice, which makes absolutely no sense, so I shall demonstrate it right now. Let's try it this way. May each being circumstance, and now flat. Be as fortunate as Chenrezig circumstance. And remember, that's compassion. And now we do the wisdom part. For each circumstances, appearing yet as wood is Chenrezig's pure land of light. Super easy. Let's chant this together right now. If you don't do it perfect the first time, that is to be expected. But play with us twice a day, every day, and by this time next week, you will be Bob Bitchin. May each being circumstance be as fortunate as Chenrezig circumstance. For each circumstances, appearing yet as wood is Chenrezig's pure land of light. Now, if there's any questions at all, wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Okay, no hands, no questions. Excellent. So let's review these next 4 meditations we learned last week. This is purely review. However, we are going to learn 4 new finger positions. They're super easy and they're all spelled out. So next week, you're also going to learn 4 new finger positions for a total of 12 finger positions that are explained in the first element of the appendix that you received last week, and that's at the back of every lesson. And if you just play with this twice a day, every day, within a week or 2, you will have accidentally remembered them, which is very cool. So just like last week, our palms are still up upon our knees. We're going to start, however, and just like last week, the sequence is the same. It always goes little finger, ring finger, index finger, middle finger. The only thing that changes is which hand are we using. Are we using the left? Are we using the right? Are we using both? That's it. So if you have 4 fingers and 3 variables, permutation theory tells us that multiplication tells us we have 12 permutations. I learned that in Algebra 2 many, many moons ago. So let's play with both of our little fingers right now. Mani padme hum, mani padme hum, mani padme hum. Remember, John, the most important thing is to relax while we chant, because it's the relaxing. I've probably been pronouncing this for the last 24 hours. But it's the relaxing that helps us to emotionally let go. They follow each other like hand in glove. So now we slide up to the second or middle set of creases. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Just like last week, we're going to switch from this circumstance to our neighbors. And now we're switching from both of our little fingers to just our left ring finger. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Now we switch to earthlings, and we are going to work with our right index finger. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. It's kind of funny. There is a comedian. He got a start on the Daily Show, or at least that's when I first saw him. Let's see, his name is Stephen Colbert. And he once said that a lawmaker in Washington said that because it's cold in winter, therefore there is no climate change. He then said, this just in, I had lunch, therefore there is no world hunger. What they were inferring was that often our self-centered perspective negates our empathy for others, no less our logic. And this exercise helps to put a pin in the balloon of our self-involvement. Let's jump right in. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum, om mane padme hum. And now the fourth variation of this set. A subtle change from last week. Last week we used the noun, or I should say I'm not sure what part of speech this is, the descriptor each. I guess that's a preposition. Last week we used the preposition each. This week we're using the preposition all, which is just easier to remember because if we're using two prepositions beginning with the same vowel, for instance, earthlings and each, that's just too confusing. So we're switching to all. It's much easier once you start to memorize this. And by the way, there's no pressure to memorize it perfectly the first time you use it, but practice with the intention that within a week or two, you will memorize it, because when you practice from memory without gazing at the text, it is so much more transformative. And number two, because this is basically the same exercise, only one word is being changed during each variation, it really does lend itself to memorization. Like I said, no pressure, just set space, and you may surprise yourself in a week or two. So let's play with this right now. We're using both of our middle fingers. And you know that because it's written right down here. Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Relax, relax. Remember to relax. Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Oh, I'm emphasizing the wrong syllable. Relax. That still sounds wrong. Oh well. Anyway. Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. We are now perched upon the precipice of two things. First, we're going to learn 4 new meditations, which is just really 4 variations of 1 new variation. And number 2, we're going to review last week's 4 finger positions, which in Sanskrit are known as mudra. Don't have to memorize the Sanskrit. Just put that in the commentary to make it more interesting for you. So corpus is just a fancy word for body, because I thought it would be fun if the 4 bases of mindfulness began with the same consonant. Spoiler alert, those 4 bases are circumstances. Let's go like this. Circumstances, corpus, communication, and consciousness. I'm very silly that way. I hope you won't mind too terribly much. Let's use the same triplet chant. May each being's body be as healthy as Chenrezig's body. For each body is essential as Chenrezig's body of light. Just like before, the first 2 lines were compassion. The second 2 lines were learning to let go. Now, we experience the voidness of our body just by noticing it in the in-breath and by relaxing on the out-breath as we chant. That's the quick path to viscerally realizing emptiness. It's a mistake to think that if you realize emptiness or voidness, you will experience nothing ever. No. On the in-breath, we experience everything as it is. And on the out-breath, as we tune into our own body, everything as it is just seems a little bit less graspable, a little bit less dramatic, a little bit less threatening. If there's any questions, please wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. John, I'm dying to know what shirt you're wearing.
It's a band called Rancid.
Rancid, that sounds familiar. Do you have any music I would recognize from the radio?
Yeah, they have some. They have a couple songs. Ruby Soho is one you might have heard from the '90s.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else?
I can't think of it right now on the spot, but
would you be so kind after a class to send me a YouTube link to Ruby Soho?
Yeah, I can do that.
You are the man. Thank you. John is making a valiant effort to help me become more hip. Thank you, John. Let's jump right in. We're working with our left little finger. How relax into the awareness of this body. If only we had been taught this during puberty, we all would have been Buddhas by now. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Okay. As promised, we're going to shift we're going to change one word. We're changing this to neighbors. And of course, now we're working with our right ring finger. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Now we switch to both of our index fingers. And we switch from neighbors to earthlings. This kind of reminds me of when we were in elementary school and they first let us play with microscopes, you know, and the microscope had 3 lenses that you could shift just by twisting something. It feels like that's what we're doing. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. So quick reminder, all the handouts are available on the private Facebook group for the students of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you want to become a student, just go to the website and register by making a donation or register as a gratis student. I'm happy to help you any way I can. Let's continue. Our final change is shifting from earthlings to all beings. And we're using our left middle finger this time. Mane manme hum, mane manme hum, mane manme hum. Remember, there may be a still small liar in your head that says if you're not concentrating perfectly, you suck. But concentration was not Buddha's way. Concentration is active. Buddha taught passive mindfulness. And simply by silently and mentally reciting this rhetorical question in harmony with the in-breath, the inner machinations of our mind are being effortlessly guided towards the bodies of all beings of all worlds. So this is an effortless path to meditation. Don't beat yourself up. Or to quote Adam's Family Values, Gomez, don't torture yourself. That's my job. Om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum. Om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum. Om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum, om mane manme hum. So I'm introducing nothing new this week. This is the same exercise we played with last week. We're just incorporating the 4 additional finger positions that we've already begun playing with today. So we're going to start with both little fingers. And now we're going to switch to our left ring finger. And now our right index finger. And both of our middle fingers. And now we're going to review exactly what we covered last week, beginning with our left little finger. And now our right ring finger. If you were to complain that this sequence of finger counting could feel a little ungainly, you'd be correct. However, the sequence that I teach you is designed to have a very positive influence on the subtle energies of your body to make them as conducive as possible to meditation. But don't take my word for it. Put it to the test by twice daily practice. Both index fingers. And we can conclude, oopsie, wrong part. There we go, with our left middle finger. We'll move on to, once again, a bit of review. We're going to use the Triplet Chant. Once again, it's like walking downstairs. May each circumstance be fortunate, each body be healthy, each communication be skillful, and each mind be enlightened now and evermore. That's my version of an animation. Now something new, brand new. It's very easy to talk about mindfulness and insight and compassion. But those words can have all kinds of different definitions. I want to make it just as meaningful and useful to you. And that's what the next and final recitation is all about. May all master mindfulness, and you'll see mindfulness is underlined and followed by a hyphen, which infers what the phrase following it is going to help define mindfulness. Passive, vulnerable, and non-conceptual. In the words of my late mother, what the frick-frack does that mean? Passive means we don't actively concentrate. We're like one of the original plants that grew at the bottom of the primordial oceans that were filter feeders. They sat there and let the current bring the nutrients to them. In a similar manner, as we sit in meditation, we're going to be completely passive, and just thoughts may come, thoughts may go, memories may come, memories may go, fantasies may come, fantasies may go. The five senses may come to us. We may have experiences of sight and sound and scent and flavor and sensation. We may have more coarse experiences. We might have thoughts of emotion or intention or calculation or recollection, or, as I mentioned, I previously said, imagination. None of those is good. None of those is bad. As long as we are passively noticing it, we are walking the path. That's why I had everyone read the discourse on mindfulness with breathing last week. The second word here is vulnerable. In last week's reading, Buddha talked about the 7 enlightenment factors. Quickly, those 7 enlightenment factors are, let's do it this way. Mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy. Let's see what comes next. Tranquility, collectedness, and equanimity. So the second one, this one right here, is investigation. And investigation basically can be translated as being curious as to what's going on. And being curious is the opposite of being defensive and protecting ourselves. So we practice the vulnerability that welcomes the present moment without trying to protect ourselves. Because if we feel something strongly like anger or fear or jealousy or contempt, that's just fuel for our meditation. It may not be comfortable, but it's useful. And as long as our mindfulness is vulnerable, it will lead us inevitably towards being a healthy, well-adjusted adult, no less a Buddha. The final of the 3 elements of the phrase is non-conceptual. That does not mean we have to force ourselves not to think. You can't do that. If you try to force yourself not to think, you're going to become cranky and overwhelmed. Please, oh pretty please, do not try to do that. Non-conceptual means we do not actively analyze what's going on. We don't label it. We don't try to categorize it. We don't try to understand it, or what caused it, or what the ramifications are. We just are aware of it now. Analysis might happen automatically. That's fine. It might happen passively. It might happen unconsciously. Fine, no problem. Just don't exhaust yourself or distract yourself by doing it actively. Our only job is, when we're doing the in-breath, to silently and mentally recite the appropriate recitation, whether it's how relax into the awareness of this, or a variation thereof, or simply silently and mentally reciting the word this. That's it. During the out-breath, we either chant a mantra while relaxing, or silently and mentally recite the word yes while relaxing as best we can. If we do that and just sit back and enjoy the ride, everything could take care of itself. So now we have we have unpacked our understanding of mindfulness. And by the way, this explanation of mindfulness is not in harmony with fundamentalism or patriarchy. It is in harmony with liberalism and matriarchy. It has been written in the Buddhist text that there are 10 levels on the path to enlightenment. If we follow the path of fundamentalism and patriarchy, we can't get beyond the 3rd level. It's like we had a glass ceiling. It's much easier to just start from matriarchy, because that takes us all the way to the 10th level, easily, and comfortably, and pleasurably. This brings us to the second underlined word, insight. Now, the fundamentalists have convinced many of us that insight means we have a PhD or a Doctor of Divinity, and we've learned how to isolate the isotope, metaphysically speaking, and drown ourselves in the murky waters of minutia, which Buddha never taught. Remember, I talked about the 7 enlightenment factors. The 5th one was tranquility. And that's what comes from physically relaxing. The 6th one was collectedness, and that's what comes from noticing. The 7th one is equanimity. Neither shoving nor pulling. That's what comes from practicing both. So the key to Buddha's insight was simply relaxing. By relaxing our body as best we can, and no one expects you to do it perfectly with every breath ever. Just embrace the intention. It's already wired into our brain. It's already wired into our parasympathetic nervous system. All we have to do is get out of our own way. By physically relaxing, it helps our minds and our emotions to spontaneously release. And this helps us to flow, which we'll explore in just a few more seconds. So these 3 ideas are what Buddha really meant by insight. This brings us to compassion. Now, if we were most teachers are fundamentalists. They really mean well. They come from patriarchy. They come to Buddhism from their brainstem. And so the brainstem really has it really isn't wired to be compassionate or loving or empathetic. It's competitive. It's ruthless. And so people from that orientation have to go through all these mental gymnastics to coerce themselves into feeling an analog of compassion. Ugh, so much work. But by working with all this stuff up here, this stuff and this stuff, it sucks us up into the midbrain. Hey, Thanksgiving's coming. John, are you going to visit your mom this week?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. When your mom cooks a bird, does she use that enormous eyedropper thingy, the baster?
I think so.
Okay, so you squeeze the baster, air comes up, you release the bulb, and it sucks up the fatty juices of the dead bird. Yum, right? Well, it's the same thing with this. By playing with these ideas right here and these ideas up here, just like gravy in a baster, we get sucked up into our midbrain, where compassion is spontaneous. We don't have to force it. It's completely uncontrived. It's natural. Because every healthy mammal that was not born a psychopath or conditioned to be a sociopath has mirror neurons and an empathy center. Some people think there's more than one. Some people think, I will leave that debate for the neuroscientists, but at least one empathy center in our brain. We're already wired for it, pre-installed, factory installed. Like, remember, software used to come with computers way back when the crust of the earth was still cooling. Remember that, John? Maybe not. So here's an idea to play with. Patriarchy, fundamental, has 2 extremes: scatteredness and contrivance. We know what scatteredness is. Take a kid, have them spin around, and then let them go. They're scattered. The opposite of being scattered is being centered. And that comes to us through the practice of mindfulness. People caught in fundamentalism, caught in patriarchy, when they're not being scattered, they can be very contrived. They force things happen. They are the princes of planning. The opposite of that is being spontaneous. Now, if our spontaneity is scattered, it's going to get us in trouble. An example of scattered spontaneity is that great idea you might have after your 6th shot of tequila. You know, the kind of idea wherein you blink and then you're wearing steel bracelets. Not such a good idea. But if our spontaneity is centered, then we can do great things. That's where true genius comes from. That's where the greatest insights of science, the greatest insights of the arts have come from. Centered spontaneity. So now that we have an educated expectation of mindfulness and insight and compassion, let's recite it with the Triplet Chant. And I'll use my ridiculous hand gestures. May all master mindfulness, insight, passion, passive, vulnerable, and non-conceptual. Insight, relaxing, releasing, and flowing, as well as compassion, centered, spontaneous, and uncontrived. When you chant this while laying hands on your pussycat, she is going to act like she's on catnip. I can't wait to hear about it next week. So I think that's everything. Let's scroll down a little bit. Oh, there's one more thing. So this is the appendix, and last week you received Ptolemy's 12 elemental permutations. And I reminded everyone to basically only worry about the stuff in the left column. That's all you got to worry about. Last week we dealt with these 12, these 4, and this week we're up to this 4. So that's really cool. Now, this week we're going to explore the 2 paths. In the Tao Te Ching, we read of 2 paths in any endeavor. Lao Tzu warned against the former and encouraged the latter. The path of yang or the path of yin, the path of patriarchy, the path of matriarchy, the path of rigidity or the path of flexibility, the path of elitism or the path of egalitarianism, the path of control or the path of permissiveness, the path that craves certitude or the path that is comfortable with ambiguity, the path of authority as the source of truth. It's truth because I told you it's true, versus the path with truth as the source of authority. We did an experiment. Here's the findings, and here's how this experiment has been replicated. The direct path or the circuitous path, the active path or the passive path, the path of competition or the path of cooperation, the path of cruelty or the path of compassion, the path of pride or the path of love, the path of ego or the path of not self, the path of scatteredness or the path of centeredness, the path of contrivance or the path of spontaneity, the path of effort or the path of ease. In the commentary, this is elaborated upon with the, what's it called? With the metaphor of the dakini. What's a dakini? Glad you asked. In Buddhist mythology, especially Buddhist tantric mythology, there is the idea of the daka or the dakini in Sanskrit. The daka is the male counter version, and the dakini is the female version. In Tibet, it's khandra, which is one word for both genders, which I really like because, as we're learning, gender is more of a spectrum than a binary phenomena. Now, we've played with words, but we still haven't discussed what the damn thing is. A dakini is depicted as a male or female Buddha, beautiful, naked, comprised of light, dancing in the sky. What on earth could that possibly be a metaphor for? Besides Burning Man. Burning Man, where middle-aged hippies go to get sunburns on their junk. Okay, so let's unpack the fourfold metaphor of the Dakini. The nudity of the male or female Buddha is a metaphor for vulnerability, the vulnerability of mindfulness. The fact that the Buddha is comprised of light, which is though appearing is utterly non-graspable. The way the full moon could be reflected in a basin of water at midnight, but if you go to pick it up, you really can't. It slips right through your fingers. Likewise, this body of light serves as a metaphor for the non-graspability of everything our senses can perceive outside and inside. It explores how not only are our five senses as non-graspable, but also our five thoughts of emotion and intention and calculation and recollection and imagination. Those are likewise non-graspable. And here's the cool thing. This is not a matter of blind faith. Blind faith is poison. If we notice anything during the in-breath and relax during the out-breath, we will viscerally experience the non-graspable nature of what we just noticed. No belief is required. We get to experiment in the laboratory of our own body-mind complex, which I think is pretty cool. So those are two elements. Let's go to the third element. The third element is that the male or female naked Buddha of light is depicted as beautiful. That is a metaphor for compassion. Compassion makes us beautiful. Rage makes us ugly. The fourth element of the iconography, the symbology, if you will, is that this beautiful, naked, male or female Buddha comprised of light is dancing through the sky. That is a metaphor for spontaneity. Not scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity. Spontaneity that is tempered with both mindfulness and insight that notices and relaxes. Maybe by next week I'll remember how to pronounce relax. Right now it just sounds off. But anyway, so that is the fourfold symbolism of the Dakini or the Chondro. The reason I bring that up is that in Buddhism, we don't mention yang or yin like we do in Taoism, but we have the same ideas, just expressed differently. So in a text that's approximately 1,000 years old, a Tibetan saint named Geshe Chekawa wrote the 7-point mind training. And within it, he said, do not bring the God down to a demon. An application of that teaching would be this. We can behave as the Dakini, or we can behave as a demon. When we choose fundamentalism and patriarchy and control and fear, that's the demon. When we choose matriarchy and liberalism and gentleness and flexibility, that is the Dakini. But wait, there's a scientific reference to this. If you were raised Christian or Catholic or something like that, you may have read in the Pauline epistles of the New Testament the dichotomy of old man and new man. And if you've sat through Psych 101, or you've heard Carl Sagan lecture about the triune mind or brain, it's been said we have a brain stem, a midbrain, and a forebrain. Our midbrain is common to all complex entities. I'm sorry, our brain stem is common to all complex life forms. The midbrain is unique to mammals. When we are in our brain stem, that's the demon. When we are in our midbrain, that is the Dakini. If we pursue the Buddha's teachings from the perspective of fundamentalism and patriarchy and control and fear, that's the brainstem. When we pursue Buddhism through the lens of matriarchy and liberalism and permissiveness and flexibility and spontaneity and centeredness and vulnerability, that's the midbrain. So although we might not use yang and yin, we might not use brainstem and midbrain, we do use the words yang and yin or demon and Dakini. And I hope that sheds some light on it. If you persist in the weekly recitations, if everything that's in 36-point font, not this small 18-point font stuff, it'll make sense. And if you have any questions, jot them down, and I will be delighted to answer them during next week's class. Now, before I sign off, quick last request for questions. Let me just see. Yeah, there we go. So let's open this up here. Let's stop share. And we're going to unmute everybody. John, can you help me out and properly pronounce the word relax for me? Because I went...
relax, I believe.
I went stupid this week. It sounds weird to me.
It happens.
I feel like the guy who was singing, was it Brain Stew? Brain Soup?
Oh, Brain Stew was Green Day.
Yeah. Anyway, John, do you have any questions inspired by last week's practice?
No, I'm just my question, I guess, is last week we had learned I don't know how am I trying to phrase this, relaxing into circumstances, and we had the finger positions.
Right.
And then this week we use those same finger positions, but for relaxing into body.
Right.
So rather than what I was initially kind of thinking this was like you would take the previous lesson and then add to it and build on.
Right.
But this seems like more. I'm trying to wrap my head around. Should we just kind of forego the previous lesson and then move forward with this one?
Right. And you could ask, why is he doing this to us? Doesn't he love us? And the answer is, I took the 12 mudras or finger positions and divided them into 3 groups of 4. And the funny thing is, you always want to end with a certain group, the third group. It helps to just optimize our subtle energies for meditation. So that's the first one I taught you.
Okay.
Then the second week, you learn the second one and then the third one. And the third week, you'll practice the first one and the second one and the third one. Now, it is mnemonically inconvenient, but it is bioelectrically optimal. And I don't want to do anything to undermine anyone's emotional well-being. The main reason we do this is for peace and to be less of a bastard, to be less of a Thanos. And no snapping of the fingers during Thanksgiving, John. Yeah, have you been watching the Kaminsky Method on Netflix?
No, I haven't been watching very much.
They keeping you busy?
Yeah, night shift.
Well, it's a wonderful show, and in it, there's a person going through a 12-step program. They're trying to make amends to their aging parent, and their aging parent is such a cranky, angry person. It's very difficult. So I said all that to say this. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, these can be battlegrounds. And John, you have my number. If the fit hits the shan and you're having a tough time when you're home for the holidays, you're welcome to drop me a line. Or
appreciate that.
Anywho.
Oy vey.
So, Olaf, you have any parting questions?
No question right now.
Well, Olaf, perhaps next week you can give us a video tour of your new apartment?
Yes.
And if you, by the way, poodles and labradoodles and dogs that are half poodle are good for people with allergies. Just
Yes.
I would plant that idea in your brain.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean to eat them. Please don't eat dogs. But to have them as friends. But anywho, gentlemen, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. I look forward to working with you next week. When questions arise, and they will arise, jot them down and lay them on me next week.
Okay. Thank you very
Sounds
much.
good.
Gentlemen, may you and yours be healthy and happy.
Thank you, Lama
Bye.
Jigme.
You're welcome.